go check on LinkedIn.
Should I have PP checking?
Yeah, I'm going to send you links. Looks like we're streaming on, let's look here. Twitter, 99% uploading. Let's look here. Looks like Twitter's going live. I'm excited about this one today. Selling on Amazon, beginner's guide. So that's Twitter. Let's see what's happening on YouTube. Yep, looks like YouTube's going. Good. LinkedIn. All right. So how many do we got here? All right. And Facebook, we'll see. I don't know if that one's going to work. I don't know. Are you seeing those, Jacob?
Yeah, YouTube's working.
Okay. Looks like LinkedIn's working and Twitter. I can't see Facebook for some reason, but we'll see if that's good. I'm excited about this one, though. Let's see here. Got a few people on. Sell on Amazon, beginner's guide. I'm excited about that. Okay, let's see here real quick. All right, getting ready to go. Selling on Amazon, beginner's guide, except I lost my outline, Jacob. Oh, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. I'll switch to this tab. There it is. I got it. It's back. All right. I am excited. We'll go ahead and get started here. I'm going to put us on the screen. I am excited about this. Couple things that, you know, just to kind of show you right out from the beginning about selling on Amazon FBA. I just kind of want to take you behind the scenes. I'm going to show you some tools, which will be pretty exciting as we go along. But first of all, you know, for very strange products, there's money to be made still on Amazon. This is for a product that, you know, look at this. This isn't even Amazon terms of service compliant for an image. They've got all this stuff in the background doing $42,000 a month. And we've got this one doing $106,000 a month. And their marketing is pretty much just focused on showing the product. Okay, so we're going to show you how to beat brands like this that don't do anything, but yet are doing pretty decent numbers every month. So, and then I'll kind of take you behind a little bit on a tool like this, which is specifically will show you kind of what's going on in the Amazon space. So one of the things we can do is just really quickly, we'll show you how to do this a little bit more later, but let's go ahead and do let's do college, and let's see here, just do some searching for that, see kind of what pops up. And let's see here, just looking through these. Okay, let's pull this one down. Look at that. Okay, so advanced collagen is what this is. You know, pretty basic marketing, not all that exciting for that one. Let's see what this one does, see if this will pull this up. So 247. So between these, we got about 40, we got $100,000 a month, we got $247 a month. Just showing you how there is still money to be made on Amazon. A lot of people say that there isn't, but that's just not true. We've been, Jacob and I have been sort of blessed to be selling on Amazon and working on Amazon for combined, 16 years, probably.
Something like that.
Something like that. I've been doing digital marketing for far longer than that. So just to give you an idea, it is still a viable tool marketplace to sell on. I'm going to basically break down. We have this ambitious goal to take you through how to sell on Amazon as a beginner's guide in a whole video. Jacob and I have, like I said, have had tons of experience. Anything from taking bill from $0 to $68,000 in 28 days, and then after that to $243,000 a month in just a month or so after that. David doing $1.4 million in new sales in that short length of time. And so kind of going to show you, break down some of these things, show you what exactly needs to be done on Amazon to help you win, and specifically how to do this. But the important thing to know about all of these, no matter what we are, including the ones I showed you earlier, they all did it with Amazon FBA. So that's the good part. So looking at how big Amazon FBA is, 150 million people have US phones have the Amazon app installed currently. 51.2% of all digital sales, all that includes everyone else in the world that has a Shopify site, a Wix site, WooCommerce, whatever. 51.2% of all sales still happen through Amazon worldwide. So it is the biggest player. Walmart, all those others don't even come close. And Amazon is the first $1 trillion company. And right now, today, what's going to happen is 70 million shoppers are going to be on Amazon today. And they already have their credit cards locked and loaded, ready to buy. The cool part about that is, because this is all about Amazon FBA, Amazon takes care of a lot of stuff for you. Obviously, the payment transactions are a big one. So you don't have to set up your Shopify site and then figure out who your transactions are going to be through and set up your Stripe account. Moreover, when people come onto your site, you don't have to convince them to put in their credit card information or to trust you. They already trust Amazon. So that's a really big factor that a lot of people don't take into consideration when it comes to selling on Amazon. But we're talking about specifically about Amazon FBA. What that stands for is fulfilled by Amazon. So this is an advantage that Shopify doesn't really have yet. Walmart does to some extent. But if you're setting up your own site or anything like that, you've got to figure out how to get your product from, first of all, getting them to buy something, shoppers to turn into buyers, and then getting that product out to the shopper in a fast way, because people don't tolerate slowness anymore because of Amazon FBA. So the cool thing about Amazon FBA is that it will take care of all of the logistics for you. So you don't have to do anything. The shopper will come onto Amazon, they'll make the purchase. Amazon will pick and pack that, ship it out to them. If you've experienced Amazon, that's how Amazon FBA essentially works. They take care of all those logistics and fulfilled by Amazon. Now, we're going to do a complete how-to today, and we're going to cover everything from beginning to end on how to sell on Amazon FBA. So this is a pretty ambitious project we have going on here right now. But these are what we're going to cover. We're going to cover product sourcing, meaning how do you find the person to make your product, because assuming that you aren't the manufacturer. But if you are, then you'll be able to skip that one and go on to the next one, which is product selection, which includes your Eularian Destiny, which I'll show you in just a little bit. Also, how to set up Amazon, and logistics. Logistics are essentially just how to send stuff, either to Amazon, from Amazon, to customers, all of that. And then finally, how to make money on Amazon, because doing all these things have to be done in a very specific way, or you don't get the money. Now, the cool thing about this is, when looking at all this, you may be thinking Amazon sounds a little bit like a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not. One of the things that we've seen over and over again is it does take some work. This isn't drop shipping. This isn't making digital products when you don't actually know how to sell anything in the first place. This is an actual legitimate business that really does work for people. So one of the things that here, let me see here real quick. I've got a sheet here. Where is that I was working on? Let me go to and show you this one because I think this will be a little bit helpful just as and I'm doing something on the fly here. So you got to have a little bit of grace. If you have anything to say, Jacob, you can jump in on that one so far, anything I've covered.
Yeah, I think we're going to be going over some questions also later in the live stream. So any questions can be left in the comments. We'll jump to those towards the end of the stream as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. These are just some of the testimonials that we have, but I'm actually pulling these up to show you something. Dakari Lariat actually has a pet product. He created a whole brand of pet products. Everything is exclusively started on Amazon. He actually is making millions a year. He does it all from his own house. Frank Galushka, same thing, developing up products, does it from his own home. Jason Kane's a big one here. This is kind of a cool one because Jason Kane had a corporate job, decided to do Amazon as a side hustle, grew his business to 7 figures while taking his family to China regularly for like 6 months out of the year. So many others doing this. Randy's doing this as a side hustle. He has a full-time job, building up a very, very big business that he'll be able to retire into very shortly. So there's just tons of stories of like that over and over and over again, that this is a real business. It's not get rich quick side hustle or anything like that. This is all about creating products and providing people things that will absolutely change their lives. And we're going to show you how to do all of that as we move along. And ultimately, I think the big thing that's going to develop up for you is a little bit of passive income and freedom that I think a lot of people want, that I think will be rather exciting as well, too. Now, let me kind of get into some specifics here as far as how Amazon works, how you will be able to take advantage of Amazon for yourself. And specifically, what we're going to talk about are product selection. So there are a few different ways to sell on Amazon. First one is retail arbitrage. So that's a very common way to end up selling on Amazon. Kind of just break that down for you really quickly. What that means is you go out to your local Walmart store, you find something on discount, on sale, or something like that. You buy everything off the shelf and then you upload it into Amazon. So if you find something like a high press steam cleaner for $105 in Amazon, in Walmart, you can sell for $325 on Amazon because the market's just better and more nationwide on Amazon. One of my friends, Peter, started out doing this with Tillamook cheese. Amazingly, he would go to his local Walmart. He lives up in Oregon. He would go to his local Walmart and buy Tillamook cheese right off the shelf and then sell it on Amazon for like 4 or 5 times markup because there were places in the nation that couldn't get Tillamook cheese. So he figured out a unique way to package this thing and ship it out. So that's what retail arbitrage is. The pros are it's really easy to get started and launched into selling on Amazon using retail arbitrage. The cons are because it's easy to, it's a low barrier to entry and everyone can do it. And that's not even really including what can happen with Amazon, sort of like on the Amazon side. And Jacob, you want to talk a little bit about RA and what can happen with Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, some of the big ones we see from some of the small sellers that start on retail arbitrage that really kind of leads them to wanting to launch their own products. They get fed up with the fact that, as Sean said, it's a low barrier to entry. Anyone can do it, and because of that, the biggest one is how the mechanism that allows you to make money doing that really depends on how many other sellers are selling the exact same product, and so you could get a listing where no one else is really selling them on Amazon. You'll go ahead and get your product, get everything set up, and then for some reason, 10 other people also figure out the same kind of deal. They put up their listings, and all of a sudden, your buy box percentage goes from like 75, 100% down to like 5%, and you're just not seeing the sales that you have. And then you're stuck with all this inventory that you purchased up kind of sitting around your house. So what you'll see, it's kind of consistent with a lot of these first methods, is there's just a lack of control. And really on Amazon, you're already giving up a certain amount of control to Amazon just because of the nature of the platform. So without even splitting up whatever control you have with that, with now Amazon and then other buyers, it's just a recipe for frustration, as we see time and time and time again. So.
Yeah, and you're going to hear the topic of control come up a lot during our time together, because it really is one of the most important factors to your success on Amazon, off Amazon, no matter what. So, moving on from retail arbitrage, though, is next one is wholesaling, and that's essentially where you set up a wholesaling account and you go to wholesalers. So brands will oftentimes distribute through wholesalers. They allow wholesalers to have exclusive access or give access or grant access to other sellers, to other vendors. The idea was originally made that the wholesalers would have all these great relationships with people, small mom and pop stores, hardware stores in the middle of Indiana, things like that. And then big brands would say, hey, I need distribution to those people. I don't know them, you do. And they would send the products to the wholesalers, and the wholesalers would then ship the products out, or get people to local mom and pop stores to put the products into their store. That is still part of wholesale today, but what's become more common is wholesalers just are logistics centers. They purchase a certain amount of inventory or hold a certain amount of inventory, get it out to local regional centers. So they deal with a lot of logistics. And then if you have a wholesaler's license, can go and buy some of those products and use the licensing that they've been granted to sell. And so oftentimes that will happen, or you'll go directly to a brand and say, hey, I want to wholesale your product. Just sell it to me at wholesale rates, and I'm going to go put it onto Amazon. I know all about Amazon. So this is the common pitch. Now, the cool thing about that is, it gives you ability to get products that have legs already. So you can literally go buy anything for Procter & Gamble and start selling if you wanted to today, if they would allow you to do it. And those products already have legs, meaning they already have people looking for them. So the good part is, a few years ago, like 5 years ago, this is really blue ocean. No one was doing this because they didn't understand how to get those relationships. But now there's been a million courses on how to start wholesaling for Amazon. And of course, went from a blue ocean to a red ocean, where it's just red with blood, and everyone can jump in and jump into that quickly and be wholesaling on Amazon in like a matter of weeks. So that's kind of the downside to it. Jacob, any thoughts on the wholesaling from the perspective of Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, the other one, kind of as what we see pretty often, we work with a lot of sellers who are the kind of primary manufacturers, but then they also wholesale out to other wholesalers, and then those wholesalers inevitably end up on Amazon. One of the downsides for both the manufacturer and the wholesaler is you can lose kind of control with your listing, especially if you are the wholesaler. You usually don't have brand access to the listing, and so whoever the manufacturer is, if they have a presence on Amazon and they have their listings brand registered, they're going to be the contributing seller most of the time. And you're really at the whims to their marketing team for what is allowed to be marketed on Amazon. So a lot of times we see manufacturers just aren't very inept at marketing their own product. So you get kind of crappy images up that really don't sell. You get copy that goes over features, but not really the emotional kind of drivers behind selling, and you can't really do much to change about that unless you have a good relationship with the wholesaler and you can get them to actually, or the manufacturer, and you can get them to upload it. But yeah, again, that kind of all leads to the issue of control. Really, whenever you're on Amazon, what you want is to be able to control the entire buying experience as much as possible. And whenever you're taking some of these more kind of shortcut methods, you're really the trade-off is you're losing that level of control with it as well. So
You're giving it up. That's true. Good. Now, the last one kind of gives you back your control, and this is doing your own products. So this is primarily the one we're going to talk about today. And the reason for this is Jacob's already said it like 2 times. Ultimately, wealth is about what you control. So everything from real estate, you control a certain amount of real estate, 300 doors of real estate. That means you get the passive income for 300 doors of real estate. That doesn't even mean you need to own the real estate. Sometimes you can lease it and still make money. It's the same thing on Amazon. You just need to control something. And the more control you have on Amazon, the more wealth you can have, because it becomes harder for people like wholesalers, like retail arbitragers, to come in and start to steal your space, because you now have control, because it's my product. I made it a very specific way, or I put things together in a very specific way, which we're going to kind of go over that, especially in your Eularian Destiny, which we'll cover in just a little bit. So we're going to kind of get into the next part, which is how do you source products, product sourcing on Amazon? What does that look like? So a couple of things that we sort of find interesting is that the old way was to go to Alibaba. So I'll just show you Alibaba real quick. This is Alibaba in case you've never seen it. This is the old way that everyone described probably started about 10, 15 years ago. Everyone's like, hey, go to Alibaba, find one of these products, and you can say, hey, I like this product right here. Then you can go on to any of these products, and then immediately you come over here and you can either reach out to the supplier, you can start an order, you can chat now with whoever this supplier is. I would have to have the account logged in, and then get this made. Or you can even start to talk to them about making a version of it for you. So I could put the Big Sean logo right on here and make it Sean Co. whatever bag that is if I wanted to. So this is sort of the old way to do that. Now, a couple of things have made this a little bit more difficult as a way to create and sell on Amazon, because a couple of things have happened with Alibaba sales recently. And one of them is China is getting sort of pushed around by the United States right now. So tariffs are a huge factor in what's happening with Alibaba right now. And the other part is too, a lot of people don't realize they get into this space. Two things. One, they get into the space. If I can see this, Jacob can see this. And if Jacob can see this, you can see this. And we could all launch this product today. Literally, we could, or within a week, basically. We could have this thing up and running within a week on Amazon. But that means everyone can. And then if you do a really good job with your marketing, let's say, and I figured out a way to market this bag and I'm selling $100,000 a month, then anyone can come along right behind you, look at a tool like this, find out how much you're making on Amazon, and then go, hey, I can just go get that product right from Alibaba and I'll do that and sell under your listing. So you've already done all the hard work to get the marketing. You created the videos, you did all that. Now they're coming on and just saying, yeah, I have one of those to sell too. And you can't fight them on it because they have the exact same product. So this is one of the problems with this one. The other one is obviously tariffs have pushed Alibaba around and Chinese sellers, because this is a Chinese marketplace predominantly. Most people are in China. And so this is a way to go find Chinese manufacturers, get them to manufacture something for you, or just give them some of the stock you can. The good part is you only have to do between 10 pieces. So you can test this at 10 MOQ right here, where it says this right here. You can test this at 10. So for what, $60, you can test this and see if this product actually sells. So that's one of the joys about this. The downside is everyone else can too. So this is kind of a tough way to do that business and to do Amazon FBA. The more modern way is to do something like this, which is thomasnet.com. And you can tell how old that site is because it has net and .com in it. But you can just come in here and pretty much put anything in here that you want to. So if we wanted to, let's just do, well, let's see if we can do collagen. Let's just see, collagen supplements. Okay, so we can do collagen supplements. Now I want you to notice a few things here. So let's just say we wanted to do collagen. A couple different things about this on Thomasnet. This is New Jersey. This is New York. This is New York. This is, was that Michigan, California, California, Illinois. So all these people, and you can literally just reach out to them and contact them and start a discussion about the product you're interested in, whatever, see what they can manufacture or anything like that. Now, a good combo might be also to consider doing something like this, where you go and do a bundle. You can do both of them. You can, any source will do. You can actually, if you're say, hey, I started on Alibaba, I went the Alibaba and Go method. You can start to add in and build your brand out with Thomasnet and kind of pull in some US products if you're already stuck there. If you want to do this, you could even go, I have sort of an expensive problem, but I'll purchase something from Alibaba that's cheap, put them together. And that way it becomes harder, because if you put up a listing with two things, that's harder. That's more control, because it's harder for other people to come on and say, hey, I'm going to go do the exact same thing. Now they have to contact two manufacturers, get them shipped in, get them packaged together, and get them onto Amazon. So any kind of bundling or putting things together in that way is sort of a good way to do. And the idea is you want to have control. You want to be able to control something that won't let people easily jump on to what your hard work is and take that over. Jacob, any final thoughts on that one?
No, I think it hit the kind of nail on the head with that one. I mean, obviously the biggest one that everyone's really taking into consideration in right now is tariffs. So the whole point, obviously, drive manufacturing to U.S. as much as possible. So a lot of people are considering U.S. manufacturing, U.S. suppliers a lot more than we've seen. I mean, in the last decade. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, now the name of the game is going to be going out and really kind of building some of those U.S. manufacturer supplier relations and finding the kind of difficult path forward that a barrier to entry for anyone else to kind of just jump on your thing. So.
Yeah, I agree. And then I kind of want to talk about, because what you're probably saying is now great. I know how to go find products. I can do Alibaba, I can do Thomas Nets, but how do I find profitable products? So let me tell you about the old way. The old way was this kind of advice. Find out something that's priced between $15 and $85. If it's under $15, it's hard to profit due to fees. If it's over 85, that's an impulse buy. Listen, if you see advice like this on setting up and what I need to do to have profitable products on Amazon, it's just too generic and it doesn't cover it. Because here's the reality. You could actually sell something for under $15 and still profit if you used it as a lead magnet, as a loss leader, meaning I'm willing to lose money on my $8 item because what I'm going to do after that is get you into my system. And I've got such an awesome system that I can then sell you the $85 or the $100 item or anything like that. The other thing is we've seen is the $85. Yeah, that's awesome. But if you could sell something for 200, you actually probably have a higher margins and you can afford to push harder into advertising. So you see advice like this, super generic advice. That's not the way to go. Instead, you really need to be looking for something else. And I'm gonna show you how to do this over the next few steps. But it's kind of like this. Just imagine that you decided to set up a hot dog stand. You're like, I'm going to be the world's best hot dog stand. And I want to make it super profitable. I want people to super love the hot dogs and just come back and buy millions of dollars worth of hot dogs from me. So if you're thinking about that, I'm going to start a hot dog stand. Most people would probably think about, hey, what do I need to have a profitable hot dog stand? Even right now, you may be thinking like, what do I need to have a profitable hot dog stand? Do I need to have a great marketing? Should I have some videos? What about signage? I'm out front. I probably ought to have some good signage. That might be good. Or hot dogs. Maybe we really need to focus on the hot dogs. So they're the tastiest hot dogs. Or the buns. We need to have the buns be super unique, taste great, feel great. Or it's all about the condiments. We need to put weird stuff on the hot dogs that we've never done before. None of that is true. If you want to have a super profitable hot dog stand, you could actually have the crappiest hot dogs. You could have the worst buns. You could have the worst signage if you solve this one thing. You only need a starving crowd. If you have a starving crowd, they're going to buy whatever hot dogs you have available, and you could not be good at marketing. You could not be good at hot dogs. You could not have the best suppliers or anything like that. If you have a starving crowd, you solved all the others. So what we really want to be doing is looking for a starving crowd, but in a very particular way. Because you could come back to this and go, this doesn't answer the question at all whether this is a starving crowd. All you've solved is like, I have a product between $15 and $85. If no one cares, they're not going to even pay $15 for it, even though you're willing to sell it. So you absolutely need to solve this and have a starving crowd. So I'm going to actually show you a little bit of starving crowd and break down. I'm going to give you three. There are tons of profitable niches that Jacob and I have worked at over the years, but I'm going to show you three that I just kind of think that might be good. And we're going to do it with actual numbers on here. So I'm going to go over to Jungle Scout Catalyst. Look, this is a very simple program. I'm not associated with Jungle Scout by any stretch of the imagination, but you can just come over here. You can pick a category, any category, and start to do research. But I'll show you the things that I have set up right now. Take these off here. So I have a simple price, $20 and above, just to keep it really simple. I'm looking for revenue of $100,000 or more. Now, just to let you know, this revenue figure is not super accurate on any of these tools. Like you may have something that says $100,000. You may go look and it's actually doing a little bit less or a little bit more because maybe last week they put it on sale or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. We're just going to select one. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit because this is really sort of critical as to, why you would want to select products. So I picked pets. Let's just do, let's do dog grooming. Okay, let's do dog grooming because pets is one of those niches, but getting down into the super profitable products that you may have. Okay, so let's look at these. And what I really want you to start focusing on a little bit is to why these things would be making money. So let's look on this one, replacement blades. Okay, so these replacement blades, let's see how much they do per month here. They're doing 124,000 a month for just replacement blades. So obviously the good part about this is doesn't cost much to ship those in. They're pretty pretty lightweight. They're small packaging. It wouldn't be much to get a bunch of these and go. The big question is like, why are people purchasing these blades? The reason is because they trim their dog, and if the blades are dull, their dog yelps. That's why they're purchasing these blades. Now, none of that marketing on this is actually saying any of that stuff, but that's one of the reasons. So this has solved a little bit bigger problem than maybe say a dog chew toy would. All right, let's go look at this one, see what this one pulled up. This is a whole grooming set, and it includes kind of stuff to brush out the dog with and everything like that. Let's see how much this thing is doing. Okay, $669,000 a month. One of the reasons for that is because in the United States, people will take better care of their pets than they will oftentimes take care of themselves. So we are absurdly focused on our pets. We're obsessed about our pets. And so they could either go to a groomer and pay probably whatever this amount is, 65 bucks. They'd be probably paying that for half an hour, I bet,
For
at
just
least at a
one.
groomer. Yeah, just one it maybe. And now they can just keep doing it over and over again. So they want to take care of their pet. They want their pet to look good, but they figure they can do it themselves. So this is solving a very big problem. So when you're looking at these kind of things, you want to be consistently looking at the starving crowd, and also why does it work? Why does dog grooming work? And the biggest reason is because they solve bigger and bigger problems. So there's a difference between me picking out hair barrettes for myself, which I could probably sell, a whole pack of them at a good price, but dog grooming for these people solve bigger and bigger problems. When we're looking at the product here, the dog is yelping and squealing whenever they shave them because the blades are dull. So you're solving a bigger problem, and that's why this product will do better than most products on Amazon. So focusing on dog grooming may be a decent niche for you. Then let's look at another one. We're going to go live back to our catalyst, and we'll just pick out another one here that I kind of know is interesting and good. But we're going to go to a different category. So we're going to get out of this one, turn this one off, and then we're going to go over here to grocery and gourmet. And then we're going to make it a little bit interesting. So when I pop things down in here, so these are very broad categories: grocery, health. I mean, there's millions of products in these categories. So what you want to do, this is called niching it down a little bit. So I'm going to show you Japanese. Okay. If I spell it completely, I'll be even better and won't offend everyone. So let's do this. Pulling this up. So we can just go through and start to look at any of these things. We'll just pull up the top one here and see what's going on in this space. So this is for dashi. This is umi powder and umami powder. And basically what this does is creates all those dishes that you like, that probably any flavor you've ever had in soup and otherwise at a Japanese restaurant. Now, let's just see what this one's doing here. So $150,000 a month with this. Now, again, when we're asking our question about solving bigger problems, why is this product doing so much? Why is it doing so well on Amazon? Well, the biggest reason is that we've found over the years is that there are communities of people that have immigrated into the United States, and they're missing some of those flavors that either their mom made or from the homeland or anything like that, and they're just buying them right off the shelf, and they go to Amazon because everyone knows you can get anything pretty much on Amazon. So this is solving a bigger problem because it's giving that connection to home. It's giving the tastes of home quickly. I can do it with the stuff that I just pour in a packet, pour into some hot water, and I'm pretty much ready to go. So it's solving all of those problems rather quickly. So that's another really good category that we've kind of seen do pretty well. And the reason for it is, again, because it's solving bigger and bigger problems. So whenever we're looking at that, we're looking at groceries. Let me go ahead and pull up another one for you here. This one may be kind of interesting. Go back to Catalyst. So again, I'm back in Jungle Scout. I'm going to take this one off here. I'm going to go over to health and household. I don't know if we've been in that one yet. We're going to keep all these the same. So to price at $20 and above, revenue $100,000, just to kind of look at what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and change out this word for neck. Okay. And I think you're going to start to see why this becomes so important here. Let's just pull up a couple of these things. Let's do this one. So this is sort of like an obvious one. I want to pull up two. Let's do this one. Okay. This one. Okay. So if we're looking at this, we got a shiatsu massager. Again, neck pain, not a joke. So people are willing to pay for that. Let's see what this one does. $111,000. Now, a couple things to really notice off of this. There's a long period where this didn't exist. And then there's a period where, its unit sales dropped to next to nothing. So my guess is, Jacob probably can guess too, is they launched and ran out of inventory and then all of a sudden got their inventory back in, and now they're back up to making some money again. But
it sold a little too well,
yeah, it sold too well. And then they're like, oh crud, I got to get more going quickly. So what we want to looking at this kind of stuff, this is new information. This hasn't been selling forever. This is fairly new. So this may not be a product, and maybe a trendy product. Maybe this is super, super hot on TikTok right now or something like that. May be one of the reasons why. Let's go look at this one. So this is heating pad for back pain relief. We typed in neck, so obviously the people that are looking for neck pain relief are finding it. Okay, $409,000 a month. Now, again, why are people buying this product and buying it at close to $500,000 a month? And the biggest, again, is this getting back to this whole thing, solving bigger and bigger problems. Look, more than good flavors from Japan, my neck hurting will keep me out of work. It'll keep me not able to focus. It will make me not able to play with my kids or to play with my grandchildren or whatever the case is. It'll keep me focused on all the stuff besides the thing that I actually need to focus on. So this is solving a bigger and bigger problem in the marketplace, which is why it is commanding bigger and bigger money. So I kind of want to let that sink in, is this idea of focusing on bigger and bigger problems. And yes, you can get to these things, super profit products. I've given you 3: dog grooming, groceries, country specific, and pain. But you can even just look at why some of these are selling more and more, because pain gets a little closer to you. The selfish side of it. The pain is, I am hurting right now and I really need some help. So again, our goal is to be solving bigger and bigger problems. Now, on the other side of this, let's look at things that don't live up to this goal of solving bigger and bigger problems. One, we're going to just say this one is fashion. So, and I'm going to say probably one of the biggest reasons is because this is subjective. It doesn't solve my neck pain. It doesn't keep my dog from yelping. This is important to some people, but not as important to everyone. Jacob, any thoughts on fashion you want to jump in on as well too, on why you'd want to avoid it?
Yeah, I mean, part of the biggest issue with fashion that we see often is it's ever evolving, ever changing. It's very quick, it's very fast. And so assuming that I'm assuming if you're watching this live stream, you're not a kind of multi-million-dollar fashion developer, that you don't have the infrastructure to move as quickly as you would need on Amazon. And then especially whenever you're doing kind of large orders, you're ready to do your first big one, the trend could be gone by the time you even got kind of all your infrastructure set up. So there are some companies that are set up to do very well on fashion. It is not usually something we recommend for people who are like, I'm ready to launch my first product. that raises my eyebrow a little bit. So.
Well, yeah, and I guess just the amount of SKUs you have to carry too. Yeah. Like if you want, I got to have a pink one, a red one, a blue one, and all these other kinds of different things. We saw these really hurt people during COVID. People were excited and realized, hey, I think I figured out a product. Masks, because everyone had to have masks, and then they're like, I'm going to do the coolest colors that are hot trending right now. But the downside to that is everyone could figure it out. First of all, it was a big pain, but really what people were looking for was probably protection over fashion. And then everyone could figure it out. So it was a low barrier to entry. And then the number of SKUs you had to carry to be competitive. And then you got a purple one, a teal one, a flower colored one, all these different kind of things. And if the flower color one was the only one that sold, you still had the purple one and the teal one and all the other colors. And those just sat there. So you had to drop your pricing. And then if you had to order more, like that was part of your pricing. That was part of your stuff. So you ended up losing money on all the other SKUs. SKUs. So the number of SKUs is a big factor coming into play. So. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing is too, is just kind of looking at this when we're talking about tools. You know, I mean, tools are exciting, I think, for beginners, that they get really excited about tools because it can kind of give you insights that maybe you hadn't seen before. I mean, obviously you can look right through here and see how much people are making, 409, 112, all these kind of things. And it gets you a little bit excited, and it should. But you know, tools are not the be all end all. There can be some problems with tools.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest one that we see with tools over and over again is just by the very nature of it, it needs to take in that data, and it takes time to index that data, sort that data. And so what we see with tools is they're very good at telling you where people were, where sales were historically, but it doesn't really tell you where sales are going to be. So it gives you good insights, it gives you good data, but where tools really kind of we see the value in it is whenever people can take the data from the tools and then interpret that in a way, with kind of their own experience, with their own knowledge of industry, and kind of use that data as an indicator of where things need to go. But the tool itself, it's not going to show you that. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. It's backwards looking, you know, it's taking guesses. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's doing all that kind of stuff too. So that's a really good point. I think, you know, kind of doubling down on that is like, this is really sort of only the beginning of where to search for products on Amazon. So I think one of the things I think is exciting as tools are, I've covered, you know, tools, I've covered how to do 7 big niches. We've covered some basics of Amazon. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper to picking the product, because this is actually one of the most important things, one of the most critical decisions you're going to make whenever you're launching on Amazon. What product do I actually launch, and what has the highest shot of it? And so we've kind of covered 3 of the big winner niches that I've already have here. Let me pull that back up just so you can see that. Was the previous one, so I have to go back there. Sorry, guys. Let me do here and that. So this are the 3 big niches that we kind of covered already. And then we kind of got into the reason why, which is look to solve bigger and bigger problems and then avoid fashion. What I really want to talk about a little bit more is the value that you bring to good product selection, because people don't realize oftentimes sort of what value that you have in your own life, as far as solving bigger and bigger problems. And to do that, I'm going to show you the next tool, which is called your Eularian Destiny for product selection. I think this is one of the most critical tools that we've discussed so far. I've shown you obviously Jungle Scout, and I've shown you around how to go find things in Alibaba, which I wouldn't necessarily suggest, and Thomas Net and all those kind of things, and what products are out there making money right now and all that kind of stuff. But your Eularian Destiny is probably the most important factor for picking products that will also be profitable, and for a number of other reasons, which I'm going to go into with you in a second here. But before I do that, if you're kind of at this point where you're pretty certain that I want to do Amazon, I understand the basics of it, at least I'm understanding what Sean's saying, or if you're saying, hey, Sean, I've already jumped into Amazon, and it just seems like I'm shouting into the void. Nothing is really working. And in fact, I think Amazon may be out to get me. I wanted to let you know that you're not alone. And it's exactly why I created a guide that I call the 10-step Amazon fast track. Basically, this is a very quick way to cut through and get clarity on Amazon and how to move forward on Amazon, so you can start selling and scaling on Amazon. All you need to do to get that is go ahead and type the word fast into the comments down there, into the chat that's on the side, and I'll make sure to get that over to you and send that out to you. So actually, yep. Okay, here we go. All right. So I'm sending out a link right now to a few, then, so you'll have that on the chat. You can just go ahead and grab that and jump in. But I want to get next into your Eularian Destiny, specifically for product selection. First of all, your Eularian Destiny was basically the work of a Christian mathematician, Leonhard Euler. The facts about him don't matter, but what really does is this: looking at your Eularian Destiny. So there's a few different ways. We've got intersecting circles that kind of in the center give you your Eularian destiny. And one of the first circles that we really want to look at is just, this is kind of bringing together who you are and what you can bring to the product selection portion. So first of all, what you grew up around, meaning, who are your parents? What were their jobs? Did you live on a farm? Did you live in urban, upstate New York? Did you live in downtown Manhattan? Did you live in the hood? Did you spend your weekends on Martha's Vineyard? All of these kind of different things give you a different perspective and a different background that can help you when you're sourcing products. And I'll explain this a little bit more in just a second. But as we go along, just kind of be thinking about, hey, what is my background? What do I have to offer that maybe others don't? Likewise, what can you talk about endlessly? Now, I don't mean just a hobby, because hobbies could be a little bit betraying, but I mean, whatever you have deep domain expertise in, something that you've known for a long period of time. And if someone put you on the spot and said, I need you to give a half-hour lecture in front of the president of the United States, you may be nervous, but you could do it. That's kind of what I want you to be thinking. Things that you could talk endlessly about, or maybe things that you even talk about on Saturday night might be a good way to look at that one. Then also take in consideration, what do strangers say about you? People who don't know you. So not your mom, who will tell you you're great at everything. Maybe not even your best friends who think you're awesome. But strangers say, hey, you know what? You're really good at fill in the blank. So you want to pull that into your Eularian destiny as well, too. And then finally, what have you been doing for the past 5 to 10 years in experience? Meaning, what do you have deep domain experience in? Stuff that you are really good at, that you can, again, talk about for hours, and sort of pull all of those things together and make them useful for product selection. Jacob, do you have any thoughts on this one, on Eularian destiny? Because I think this is such a critically important topic, especially when it comes to product selection, figuring out what you bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that people just, it really is a good way of weeding out. Well, I mean, what we kind of see, I put kind of just a general blanket term on it, like TikTok trends. So you're seeing this thing kind of pop up and you're like, oh, this seems like it could be this shiny, new, exciting thing. And usually what people don't take into account is that by the time you're seeing it on TikTok, you're probably already too late. But I mean, for example, we see people like, if you have 5 years in the experience in the medical field, your dad's a chiropractor, your mom was like a hippie holistic healer, you passionately talk about whenever people make silly mistakes, they hurt their back and they sit for hours, then why would you end up going and like launching some sort of like minimalist, gender neutral, lab grown diamond jewelry, whatever? That's not anything that really fits even into one of these circles. It's just because it's shiny, it's just because it's trending on TikTok, and you're kind of following something that's already going to be in the decline by the time you get everything sourced. So
I think that's a really good point, Jacob. One of the things that that I find interesting is people will get so excited about something, they perseverate on it, they're fixated on it. This is the thing that I've got to go ahead and really launch into. But you've got to almost keep those things in tension. So kind of like a dialectic tension, where you've got, hey, this is what people are buying. So we saw that. We could jump on really quick on Catalyst right here, find all kinds of things that people are buying. But I think the bigger question is, what does your Eularian destiny say about any of these products? Does it speak to any of these? Like, yeah, they're big winners, but are you Japanese? Or are you from Pakistan? Is that more your background, or your parents, or something like that? And and you were the grocery game. What are you pet? Is a pet products even your thing? Just because you see it makes over $500,000 a month, does that mean that should be the product that I'm going to go ahead and launch with? Well, if you don't take your Eularian destiny into play and into consideration when you do that, you're going to have a hard time. Because listen, I think one of the things Jacob and I will both agree on, probably anyone that's done Amazon is not easy. It's not a get rich quick scheme. There are going to be times when Amazon's going to frustrate you so much, it's going to just frustrate you. And if you aren't passionate about a product, or have enough knowledge to know this can work because I have experience in it from the past 5 to 10 years of my life, or I grew up around it, or whatever that case is, then it's going to be really hard to get over those humps. You got to have a little bit of passion, but passion cannot be the leading thing. So I see a lot of sellers who come in, got the entrepreneurial spirit, want to try something, want to do a side hustle, do all that kind of stuff. And like Jacob said, their mom was a holistic healer, the dad was a chiropractor, and all of a sudden they're like wanting to launch, the weird jewelry onto the Amazon space just because they saw it was a trend, or they got super excited about it, and not realizing you'd be better off dealing with everything you have knowledge on. And again, I'll say this: a great business that keeps working in your absence, that allows you to go on vacation, that allows you to have passive income. And I don't believe in completely passive income, by the way. I think that's a little bit of a lie. So I'm gonna call that out as a myth when it comes to Amazon. You got to get involved. Just how much involvement comes down to this. If you want a business like that, it's got to be a boring business. You want a boring business. If you're super excited about, jewelry, then go buy some, or go buy, after you make millions of dollars, go buy some and do all that. Something you're passionate about that doesn't fit into your Eularian Destiny. If you don't have it as part of your Eularian Destiny, then I would absolutely say don't deal with those. Deal with something that's in there. Let it be a boring business. I'm not super passionate, but just be passionate enough that you're like, I know enough about this. Obviously, I chose it as a career, or my parents did it and I know enough, and I was excited to be part of their business. It doesn't have to be 100% passion. Maybe 10, 20% passion will be enough to kind of get you through the awful times, because you're going to have some. So let me kind of keep going on with this just a little bit on the other hand, because I think, speaking to the passion part of it, you might be sitting here looking at this Eularian Destiny, and like we just talked with one of the people in our in the Pro Seller Elite the other day, which is a group that we have where we help people get their sales up to $100,000 on Amazon. We were talking with him and the other day, and he had this whole background, in tech and all this kind of stuff, and then he really wanted to launch a product over into the other side that was all a passion product, because he was super excited about wine. And he's a great guy and very smart. I think he could do all right in wine, but he could do so much better in tech, because he has the Eularian Destiny focuses around that. So what I want to also say is, like, when we talked to him about that, he's like, yes, you know what? I've had a product that I've had on my mind for years, but I kind of think that it's a little bit more difficult to do, and I don't know if I can do it, because it was a bigger product. So I would think about this as the Wachowski strategy, if you will, because I think this may be a little bit better of a working analogy or working strategy for people if you've never done that. Maybe you've heard of the Wachowski brothers, maybe you haven't. But the Wachowski brothers essentially had one of the greatest screenplays of all times. And they knew that it was going to be a great screenplay. It would actually sell millions and millions of tickets. But what they didn't have was directing chops. They didn't have the ability to produce a movie from beginning to end. They didn't have the ability to basically work with a studio and turn a screenplay into a product that was actually sellable. But they knew that they had something. So what they did is they went another direction to solve that problem, and they created a movie called Bound. It was an indie flick. It didn't cost much money, but what it did was prove that they had the ability to make a movie, to direct a movie, to produce a movie, all those different kinds of things. It proved that they had the ability to do that. So when they completed that, they then had the ability to go back to the studio, go back to all the money people and say, hey, listen, we've already proven that we can do this. Now we want to do the screenplay that we wanted to do in the beginning, but we finally now have the chops to do it. And they did, and they released this movie, which you've probably heard of, but they had to go back and do the other movie first. So what I'm going to say to you, there may be a sequence of doing something like Bound, an indie flick for you, before you take on The Matrix, where you go back and do this, whatever your version of the indie flick is, to learn the chops of how to sell on Amazon. And maybe you've already got a product and you've already selected one from Alibaba and you're like, I don't know if this is the greatest product. And especially after looking at the Eularian Destiny, I don't know. But that's all right. Take it as an education. You can still make money doing that. I'll show you exactly how. I'm going to show you the tools and how to make money doing that. But take it as your education, because very few people get an education that they don't pay through the teeth for. You could actually get an education that pays you while you do it. It may not be the multi-million-dollar, the zillion-dollar thing for you, but it is the beginning to something that would be the equivalent of your matrix and will sort of set you up for that in the future. So that's what I would think of whenever you're going through your process of setting up and selling on Amazon. What are the product that can work with my Eularian Destiny? What's a product that will still have some traction to it? Like there's actual money flowing through it sort of right now. What's a product that I can go out and start to source on Thomason? If I can do that, then maybe I'll start with that one, working out all those things together in a way that really makes sense. So now we're going to get into a little bit more nuts and bolts. I think now that you sort of understand the nuts and bolts of that, what I kind of want to show you real quick before we do that is this: if you're kind of in this early phase and you're considering product selection, honestly, this is probably your best bet for where to start and really kind of select out. There's actually a go, no go checklist. This is training by me, by the way. This go, no go checklist right here, you can actually download it right here. It's a part of the 100K matrix. It will really guide you into whether a product is good, whether it is not good, or whether you should be using it or not. But I would suggest you start there. If you want to actually put a link, I actually didn't think about this, but I'll put a link in the description if that's something that interesting, show you how to get here. But it's part of Pro Seller Elite. This is a really great place to start because it'll kind of help you weed out my Eularian Destiny from what the product is doing, how it could sell, what's my path forward to actually market to this, whether I should go or no go on it, all of that kind of stuff. So before you waste, thousands and thousands of dollars on a bad attempt, you can actually move forward with that. And I think that may be a really good way to go. So I want to get into the next thing, which for us will be really focusing on how to move ahead with your Amazon Seller Central, how to set up your Amazon Seller account. We're going to take you through the details on that because I promised this would be complete. So we're going to go through that. And Jacob, I'll kind of let you lead the charge on this and jump in whenever I can for anything. So
yeah, here, if you want
Jacob
to
is an expert,
screen.
by the way. Jacob is an expert, by the way, is an expert on that, on everything that is all the behind the scenes on Amazon, the crazy stuff. And he's also in that Pro Seller Elite. So he's there kind of answering questions daily. It gets into the weird stuff in the weeds. Everyone's like, oh, this happened in my listing. What do I do? That's Jacob's territory. So he's a superstar.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had to be beaten up by Amazon over and over again on the kind of more annoying technical stuff, but it gives you good life experience and good knowledge, so can't complain. So yeah, kind of starting builds character, exactly. Yeah, from the jump, I mean, if you're starting from kind of square one, you're going to start with sell.amazon.com up here. That's going to be the URL. It's going to take you to this kind of startup page where you're going to go ahead and sign up. As Sean talked about a little bit earlier, there's two kind of primary accounts that you can use. There is a kind of individual seller account. This is more meant for kind of people maybe who are doing like the retail arbitrage thing. You're just kind of sending in a couple of units, and then you're kind of getting sales here and there. And there's a professional seller account. It's $39.99 a month. If you're selling more than like 30 or 40 units a month, I highly recommend just going for the Pro Seller account. There are a lot of features that are only kind of available to the Pro Seller account. And again, if you're looking to kind of create this as your business moving forward, this is probably the smallest investment you're going to make into your business, because that's kind of a $40 Seller Central account. So some of the things that you're going to have to do to kind of go through it. If you log on to this page, you'll see some of the cool things. Amazon's currently incentivizing people to get new accounts kind of set up. So there's a lot of new seller bonuses I would look into once you're in there. Some of them are like 10% back on your first kind of $50,000 in branded sales. So if you have a brand already set up, that's a great little incentive there. A bunch of other things like credits for kind of sponsored brand ads. So if you have really good videos and you're like, I want to make some good video ads, $50 of free video ads there. Free storage and customer returns for some of the new FBA selections. So if you're shipping into Amazon, those are available for you. So really cool incentives there. I'd look into that. But yeah, you'll go ahead and start the sign up process right there. It's going to ask you for a couple things. One of them it's going to require is a valid government ID. So passport, driver's license, etc. You're going to have a recent bank account or credit card statement just to kind of approve that you are functioning business. And then a chargeable credit card or debit card. This will be used for both accounts charges and then ads charges. So if you're running advertising, that'll go from there as well. You'll need to provide some kind of like basic business information. So phone, location, business type, business name, and then upload all that. And then give it a couple days. They're going to send you a postcard, kind of do some verification, fun things like that. But not too kind of insane of a process. As far as technical side of things, that's at least the most kind of straightforward part of Amazon. So, yeah, Sean, I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on there.
No, I think that I think that just a couple of things would be yeah, go for the professional account. It does unlock so much, and then we really want to be moving in towards Amazon FBA, which is the title of this whole thing in the first place. Like we need to be selling Amazon FBA fulfillment by Amazon. So I would also expect a little bit of frustration, possibly when signing up for an account. It has been frustrating for people because they have to. Are they still doing the interviews, Jacob, or they kind of bypass that?
It depends. I've heard kind of hit or miss whether or not it happens or not. So I don't know if it's
Okay.
kind of a consistent thing you can bank on.
Yeah. Okay. So, but part of that process will be obviously giving your idea and doing the interviews. That may be a little bit frustrating, but here's the honest truth about it. If you just follow the prompt and do the next thing, you'll get through it. Like it's not rocket science. This is probably the easiest frustrating thing you're going to do on Amazon. Like dealing with all of that kind of stuff. I will say this though, Jacob, if I'm going to share real quick, one thing that may sort of be a help to them, share my screen here. One of the things that actually may be a little bit of a help to them is, let me see, before I do that, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. Why is this not going back there? There we go. Okay, there we go. Share the entire screen. Yes, share. Okay, so one of the things that may be of help to this, obviously, Jacob just covered that, but a couple things that also may be of help to this. Down here on this section, for those of you who are in the academy, or if you want to, this whole thing is this 10x faster. This is actually AI. This is my personal AI shortcuts. So one of them in there is for Seller Central. So if you're in the process of dealing with Seller Central, you can literally just copy and paste the things you get from Seller Central when you get into like hiccups with Seller Central, pop them into this. It'll come back with responses, timely responses, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's a really great resource that could help you move forward if you start dealing with anything that's a little bit frustrating. Amazon is frustrating, but large part of the frustration is just because people don't know what to expect from Amazon. So that prompt actually helps, that will help you get through some of that and gives you some expectations. Oh, this is what Amazon is doing to you. This is why you're in this. This is why you're in this right now. Here's what to do next. It is really kind of helpful for people as they're going along. Yeah. So again, that's in the Pro Seller. I put the link down in the description for that one as well too. So
it's like having a personal little me kind of guiding you through, giving you all my Seller Central knowledge.
It's the next best thing to a Jacob.
Yeah.
So I think the next thing we kind of want to talk about, if it's possible, just doing a little bit of listing onto Amazon. So this is it can be a frustrating process, but I don't know that it needs to be. I would say if it's more frustrating than you used to, you probably need to jump into Elite and get Jacob to help you with some things on some of that stuff. But maybe we can just come to go over at least the essentials of that. Jacob, is that a possibility?
Yeah, we could do that. So do you have visuals for any of these, or you just kind of want me to
I don't. Can we just do a sheet, or just do a, I guess you can do a screen share or whatever you want to do.
Let me
because what we're going to be talking about here is essentially how to add a product onto Amazon. There are a couple different ways. I will say this. One is the really complicated way, and that's called a flat file. And a flat file is essentially just an Excel spreadsheet that Amazon hands to you, and it's the most convoluted thing with pages referring to other pages and all kinds of lookup tables and all that kind of stuff of referencing things like that. I would not suggest that for you as a beginner. Quite honestly, if you just go into Amazon Seller Central in the help section through Seller University, you can probably get guidance on most of the basic stuff like listing setup and all of that kind of stuff that you would have to do to basically set up a listing. But even just that, it's kind of a simple process. If you're launching your own product, you need to know a few things. Just to prepare in advance, you're going to need to have you're going to need to have a GTIN, which is the UPC code. You're going to need to have a real one. Don't go to eBay and buy those days are dead. You can't buy like a stack of 100 on eBay and all of a sudden be like, I'll just use that as my UPC code. And then kind of go from there. So again, maybe you could do maybe the Seller Academy or whatever it is, University, Seller Central University.
Yeah.
And then what can a lot of this stuff is really kind of covered in there because I want to get you on to the important stuff. So just like how to upload products onto Amazon is pretty simple. So Jacob's going to see if he can pull up Seller University here for you. Sorry, we didn't have that one prepared for you. That was my fault. But just to kind of show you the really quick essentials on how to be able to go and set up a listing sort of in the quickest way. But again, I would avoid the flat file. I would literally just go in through your front end, add a new product, and that's what's going to be there. Any luck on that, Jacob? Yeah, go ahead and share your screen whenever you got
their
it.
videos. That's what I'm trying to think if there's.
That's all right. We'll point them to where to look for all that kind of stuff and how to find it really quickly because it's a very simple, straightforward process. I want to get on to the stuff that will actually have you making money on Amazon because that's the critical stuff that I don't think anyone really talks about or maybe doesn't even understand how to do well. So that'll be an essential for us as well too there.
All right. So yeah, to go kind of over a step-by-step process for doing your first listing, there's a great resource on Amazon called Seller University. Actually, one of the kind of the top topics that's available is listing your first products. So it goes into listing your products, product ID overviews, a bunch of things like that. Unfortunately, I can't show you kind of step-by-step ones without showing some of the kind of comments we manage. So we'll have to do that kind of to respect some privacy, but just kind of going over some of the basic things that come up. So you're going to be launching into your kind of catalogs. So once you're inside your Seller Central, you have access to this little side menu. Something's wigging out here. You have this access to this little side menu that has a bunch of different items available. From there, you'll be able to launch into your ad products workflow. There's two primary different ways that you can do it. One of them is going to be what's called a flat file or a feed file. And that is basically an Excel spreadsheet. So if you're a big fan of Excel spreadsheets, that'll be one more that you can work on. Always fun to work with. But you'll basically put in things one by one. So you'll go ahead and put in your title, you put in your product description, and you'll upload links to images. I recommend having even just a free Dropbox account because you can create publicly shareable links for images. It's the best way to get images into that flat file. And then you'll go for your product ID as well. As Sean mentioned, please use a GS1 registered GTIN code. You can't really use any of the kind of shady ones purchased off kind of the dark web, anything like that. You might be able to get away with it for a week or two, but Amazon's starting to take down listings. And so I've seen catastrophic results from people not using actual GTIN codes. So don't think about it. Don't go corners on that one. Definitely worth kind of investing in those. And then one of the big ones also is going to be just product setting up the correct kind of search funnels for your listings. So making sure that you're categorized correctly, going through the different kind of search trees that you're able to go through, and then you go ahead and sell that product. So if you're selling anything like retail arbitrage or wholesaling, you look it up by your UPC code. It's already listed on Amazon. You just jump onto the listing like that. But if you're creating a new one, it's a little bit more of an involved process. But again, nothing too crazy and nothing that also can't be solved with the AI tool that Sean referenced as well. In there, so.
Yeah, the AI tool is a big one. I'll go ahead and take over here, Jacob. The AI tool is actually going to be a fairly big one that will guide you through a lot of that stuff. So I want to make sure that if that's something, if you're going to take Amazon seriously, I would say that's going to be a big move for you. So where is that here? That's this one right here. It's this. I would kind of grab that. It's in Pro Seller Elite. That will get you through a lot of the hiccups and the headaches and all that kind of stuff. And then also just going through the Seller University that Jacob mentioned, it covers all the basics. And those basics are essential, but you're really going to do them like once. The more important thing you're going to be coming back to is all the stuff that's probably more covered here that we're kind of talking about next. We're going to be going over all this kind of stuff, which is really the essentials. Because the other good thing is too, we're specifically talking about Amazon FBA in the sense that Amazon is going to handle a lot of this stuff for you. So if you can just get that listing set up, which is actually not a long process, like Jacob would probably take would be about a half an hour, 45 minutes to get most listings set up,
Yeah.
assuming there's no hiccups. And if there are hiccups, literally, this is the tool right here. You just come in here and do the one for Seller Central, and it gets you through all of that stuff really quickly. So Seller University plus this, you have everything you need to do to kind of get those things rolling. What really is going to happen is, okay, they're going to take care of a lot of this stuff for you. And I kind of want to wrap up this section talking about logistics a little bit more, because what has happened recently is Amazon has really dominated the logistics space. And what I mean by logistics is just getting stuff somewhere. Shipping stuff is what that means. Like it's the big word for saying I'm shipping stuff. So I'm either shipping stuff from my manufacturer into Amazon, or Amazon shipping stuff, logistics, out to, or the warehousing of it is considered logistics as well too. But right now, Amazon is literally handling that whole chain of events for you. Like right now, they've so dominated that they can do Amazon logistics, global logistics program can literally grab your product from China, if you're manufacturing in China, from the docks, put it on a ship, then you can ship it right into FBA, or you can go right into AWD, Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, where it can be stored as a 3PL provider for the business. So basically, instead of you're having to pay for a warehouse or putting it in your garage or anything like that, or paying a third-party provider, Amazon's taking that over and dominating right now. It is so cool, because what happens is, this is really important, this little connection here to FBA, because FBA will give you the biggest results as far as selling on Amazon. It's like 5 times sell through, because Amazon shows things on the front page of Amazon that are in FBA, because they know they can get it to the shopper faster. So it's a better shopping experience to have the products in there versus me shipping them out myself. But the problem with FBA is you can run out of inventory. And when you're early on as a seller, they only give you a certain amount of FBA inventory. Well, if you have AWD, if you put your products into AWD, AWD will automatically backfill FBA inventory for you. So you don't run out, you don't have the hiccups where you run out of inventory and have to pay through the nose for PPC to get back up. And then when you do that, you got a happy customer. And that's ultimately what you really want to make happen. So I wanted to go through that, but then I really wanted to jump into how to make money with Amazon FBA. And there's really one big thing to kind of keep in mind when we're really talking about this is you need to understand this. You make money when Amazon gets paid. That's how Amazon works. You make money when Amazon gets paid. So one of the things that Amazon's always looking out for is their own bottom line. And the only way that Amazon gets paid is whenever a transaction happens, that they get their pick and pack fees, the referral fees, or sometimes the pay-per-click fees, or any of those fees. That's how Amazon makes money off of you. So if your product doesn't sell, if it's not selling at all, Amazon's not getting paid. You're not going to get promoted. It's as simple as that. So you make money when Amazon gets paid. So you really need to keep that mind on that. This is probably more about Amazon than it is about you and your product, especially when you're on that marketplace. So when we're talking about that, we want to keep this in mind about you making money when Amazon makes money. This means that placing products on Amazon means absolutely nothing. Just having your product listed on Amazon is useless to you as a seller. We've got to do more than that, because there are tons of products out there on page 7, page 12, page 20 that are there. I'm on Amazon. They could tell their mom proudly, yeah, mom, I'm on Amazon. What they probably can't say is I'm selling on Amazon. And that's the big difference. You ultimately must sell. And in order to do that, you've got to convert browsers into buyers on Amazon. That's the only way you're going to make money. And that's the only way you're going to make money and make Amazon get paid as well too, is when you convert browsers into buyers. So look, Amazon is a big search engine. Primarily about 80% of the sales currently are coming through search or some kind of paid promotion where shoppers are on there searching for products. And as Jacob kind of alluded to earlier, people are not on there looking for cat videos. They're there to buy. They have their credit cards already stored into Amazon, ready to make that purchase right away. 70 million shoppers will be on the platform today alone. Just 70 million will be on there today, ready to buy, and they're looking to buy. They're not looking to be entertained. They're looking to buy something. So your job is to solely focus on how can I convert browsers into buyers. And in order to do that, we've got 3 battles for attention that we must do on Amazon. So the first one, the first battle for attention is the thumb scroll. How do we stop the thumb scroll? How do we get their attention when they're just flowing through Amazon? I mean, if you go out here and look at any of these, let's go out here. We'll just go ahead and look at health and household. We'll just type in neck pain. All right. So we just do this. What's going to happen here right away is you're going to start the thumb scroll, and you're going to see people trying to work to get attention right here on the thumb scroll. This one's doing it really well. So they do it with video right at the top. Some of these people do it really decently. You can see they've got little call outs and things going on these things, but their objective right now is just to stop what I'm doing, which is that thumb scroll. Me just scrolling through an endless thing of looking at product after product and product and just getting my attention. That's their objective, is to get attention. And the further you get out here, I don't know if I'll be able to get out here fast enough because they only let you go 3 at a time. You're going to probably see how things start to break down and become less and less interesting. And they also become, lower and lower sellers out here. So I don't really have time to do that. But part of that, really focusing on your stopping the thumb scroll, is really focusing on that battle for attention on your main image is going to be one of your main ones. How can I get curiosity, just stop them, interrupt their pattern of scrolling enough to be able to stop them for a second to where they're like, oh, hey, what is that? That's it. Hey, what is that? Next thing, they're on to your listing. Once they're on to the listing, you have a 5-second battle to keep them there. So what we really want to be focusing on is a lot of the stuff you're going to notice right away on the listing and everything else are the images. Now, I don't think this company did a great job. So if you want to come into this space and you were in Pro Seller Academy, you could probably take these guys on right away and start beating them at some level. But I think they're obviously doing something, and it's a cool color and all that kind of stuff. But the places you're going to want to really focus on this one are 2 areas. One is this 100K matrix, because this is going to tell you what you need to say. This is going to tell you how to say it. And then the other one is going to show you how to show it. The stack method is going to show you how to stop that pattern interrupt, to stop and get the click through on that immediately, get them onto the listing, and then fight that battle for attention, that 5 seconds. You literally, as soon as you got a shopper on your listing, you have 5 seconds to stop them from leaving. And look, I'm going to show you right now just how many things there are to leave a listing. Right up here, start at this. They could go back to the search bar and start searching right all over again and be leaving the listing there. Amazon placed a nice ad here. That was kind of them, right? This Airbro dog grooming vacuum, because I had looked at it before. It is already tracking me. And so I could click here and be gone in a second, right? Even down here on the listing itself, they've got a different kind of heating pad. They're advertising right on the listing. Over here, they're advertising right on the listing. If that wasn't enough, products related to this item, they've got a whole row of them right here. And this row goes on and on and on and on and on, 58 of these. So there's a battle for attention that has to happen right here. The primary battle is going to be this image, and I don't think they're doing a great job of it. Easy to use hand control. That's not it. The battle really starts here, because they already saw this image, which got them onto the listing. This image has to speak to them. Easy to use hand control is not what you want to say. You want to start talking and poking at those pains. Like, what is the pain that they're actually fighting? And like, if it's that they need to get back to work because they're going to, they can't afford another day off, I would start with that. Can't afford another day off? Boom, get them back to work. Get back to work fast, or, whatever it is. Just these need to be speaking to pain. If you start to get those things right here and turn this image stack into a selling process, you will convert shoppers into buyers. And we found that when we get this right, ads become better. Sales get better. Amazon starts to love us and put us out there for more people to see us. And it just works over and over again. Then the last one is your projection battle, meaning we've got to project ourselves out into the marketplace. So again, on this listing, they're projecting it with video. You can see on the top one, they've got some video. That's a great way to do that, but that's not the only way to do that. Again, you can project onto other people's listings, just like is happening here. These two are projecting their marketing onto other people's listings. Now, if they have really great main images, they got a better shot of this than if they don't, right? And if they've got a good star rating and all those kind of things. So they're projecting themselves out here. The good part is you need to realize you don't even have to do this for your product. So if you sell a product that's related to this for neck comfort, maybe you sell an ointment that goes really well with heating pads, you can advertise on this listing and you'll be doing something. Look, all these people are selling pretty much the same product. If you did that, you would be selling in a way to people that are already interested in solving pain problems, but no one is advertising that way. So you can do projecting out here via affinity campaigns and all of those kind of things. So there really are options for you. Again, if I were doing that, the PPC Easy Wins will get you there really quickly. And I actually have an AI assisted tool that will help you go out and find those other campaigns as well too. All of those are inside a Pro Seller. I think this would be probably the next best step if you're saying, hey, I understood exactly what was going along on all of this stuff so far, but I kind of need the next moves. I need to know where to go. Come in here, literally start here, make your way through. This is like a whole 90-day process you can go through, and it'll take you step by step by step through what you need to do to hit $100,000 on Amazon. You're not alone. There's community out here as well too. A lot of them we actually have in this gems listing. These are listings created by some of the students in here that are showing like, hey, how to do stuff like animate your images in Amazon. My first experience with shipping in, they're actually sharing what's going on. I have coffee hours that are happening all the time, and live ones with Jacob where we get together and help people. But you can come in here and just start learning right away. Join some of those calls. If you miss any of the calls, I have all the past recordings here available to you. A 90-day Amazon window, which is happening right now. Very specific trainings. We do those every once in a while. So this will be a great next step for you. I actually have the link down in the description on how to do this. If you're looking at Amazon and saying, I'm a beginner, I need to know kind of what to do next, this is a place to be. This is a place that I would kind of jump into and really sort of make that happen. Look, I didn't want this to be terribly long. We went about an hour and 18 minutes, but we covered a lot of territory in that time. Showed you some tools, how to go out and look at products. I showed you about your Eularian Destiny and all of that kind of stuff, the 3 battles for attention. And then I took you out here and showed you sort of the next steps that I would make. This is where I'd head next. Before we kind of wrap up, Jacob, anything I missed or anything that we need to say?
No, I think we've got a lot of ground today. Are there any questions, maybe from the chat, that we can answer? Get us technical, specific.
Yeah, it's kind of going. Yeah, I think. Okay, so one of the common ones we're kind of seeing right now is how long does it take to get up and selling on Amazon? Jacob, do you want to take any of that one?
Yeah, I mean it really depends on season. Obviously, right now it is kind of the biggest buildup going into Q4 with Amazon prepping for Black Friday, Christmas. They even have their big sales event, the Amazon Big Deal Days in October, mid-October coming up here. So timelines can vary, depends on when you come on. I would normally set aside about a week or two from start to finish. So that is from whenever you submit all your documentation that we covered earlier to whenever Amazon verifies your business and your account, then you're ready to go ahead sell. Usually about 1 to 2 weeks. It just depends on processing time. So.
Yeah, and I kind of jump in on that a little bit too, Jacob. I think one of the things that people are looking at is like, well, I'm about a month and a half out. It's better to be a month and a half out from having your inventory in than 2 weeks out, because here's what you've got to do. Really, you've got to go. I'm just looking at this. You've got to really start like here and end up clear down here by the time, if you want a really, really good shot to do well once your product gets in and it is available on Amazon. So if you only have 2 weeks, you got to scoot through all this stuff in 2 weeks. And I guarantee doing on only 2 weeks is just going to be less effective than if you spend a month and a half getting all this stuff squared away while your inventory was coming in, because that means that you're going to be ready. If the real goal for us, and we've done this, I don't know, thousands of times, the real goal for us is we want the inventory coming live on Amazon to match up exactly with our creatives being ready to go at that time. Yeah. So videos and all those kind of things, all those assets, which are all kind of explained and shown in this whole process of how to do all this stuff. You want all that stuff lined up so that when it hits, it goes, it ignites.
Yeah. You want to be able to put your best foot forward whenever the inventory is available. And that includes including stuff like on listing that we're talking about, like your creatives, your bullets, your image stacks, but also things like taking advantage of Amazon's programs like the Vine program. Get 30 reviews in a very, very short amount of time. That's another way to put your best foot forward on launch. And so getting started sooner rather than later. I feel like people are like, oh, well, my inventory is not going to hit for a month and a half, so I'll get the inventory set up, or I'll get my Seller Central account set up in a month. I would start the account now, start the process, and then you can be very intentional with your time before then. You're not just like, scrambling to get everything up 2 weeks before, you could actually put intense and kind of definitive thought between each step that you're taking because you're not waiting till the last minute. So.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely huge. Another one is about shipping products into Amazon. I guess the general idea is like, how complicated is that? If you want to answer that
Yeah,
one, Jacob.
yeah, that one, it's really going to depend on your kind of network outside. So if you're working with a third party or a warehousing situation, that can be a little bit more complicated because you have to coordinate with warehouse director. You have to get the process to get everything shipped in. You have to make sure that Amazon's got space. If you're a brand new seller on Amazon, Amazon's going to limit from time to time your initial shipment into Amazon. So I believe it's 100 cubic square feet that people get as just a base level for Amazon storage and just like your regular product size categories. But that doesn't mean that Amazon's just going to let you ship in 100 cubic square feet of inventory immediately. Sometimes they'll limit your first one because they want to make sure that your product's actually going to sell. You're not just going to have 100 cubic square feet of kind of crap sitting on their shelves for the next kind of foreseeable future. So some of that plays into it. But kind of from start to beginning, again, we're seeing about, like I said, kind of 2 to 3 week timelines. It's going to get kind of longer kind of for Amazon to process inventory the closer we get to Q4. But just kind of starting from the top, you go ahead, you initialize your shipment. You'll usually do a UPS kind of drop off or USPS drop off on the next day. It'll ship in. Then it would take about a week for it to get to Amazon. Then they have to kind of confirm all inventory, and then they start spreading it out across their distribution network. So it'll become available usually about a week to 2 weeks, but then for it to be prime, like 2-day shipping available for everyone, I would probably give it about another week after that because they got to move it all around over the US. So
Yeah, I think it's a really good, those are good guidelines. Again, sometimes Amazon is a little bit wild and woolly, so whatever you say, may change, in a
yeah,
short period of time. That's why I think it's kind of important to, if those kind of things are happening to you and you're kind of like, I don't really understand, what I'd probably get over here in the community portion of things. And then just start posting your questions. I think you just answered this question the other day. Unfillable things like logistics questions are getting sort of answered in here on a regular basis. So that'd be a good one. One of the final questions, I'll take this one. It says, how can we work with you or have you help us? So there's 2 ways. One is, if you have a budget, you're over 10 grand minimum, sort of a marketing budget ready to go on Amazon. You can reach out on Ecom Optimization, and I'll do that. Well, basically, Sean and Jacob will do Amazon for you. So that's handling everything from, initial shipments, getting Amazon set up, even helping you set up your account, all of that kind of stuff can do that. I think that's a good way. If you want to work with us, that'll be the Pro Seller Elite. Honestly, it's the best way because you get us on weekly meetings, bi-weekly. So you get to meet with us during office hours and coffee hours, ask any questions. And we kind of go over different topics, whatever the top things are. So we're taking polls like, hey, what's the biggest problems right now that everyone's having? And we're reaching out and talking to you, and we're answering those questions live. But also this training, quite honestly, I don't mean to toot my horn, but I've seen all the other training out there, including stuff that they charge upward of $10,000 for. This beats it. It beats it hands down. So I like, this will actually get you selling on Amazon. We have so many people that are like, one just said the other day, he said, holy blank, my sales just doubled. It's like, so they were all amazed on that whole thing. And it's like, I just jumped on all my top SKUs and all this kind of stuff. Just implementing even sort of the essential basics of this and starting right in here is really good. So right now we're running a 7-day free trial. If you want to jump in on this, it is the best community out there. Plus, you get access to Jake and I, who've been doing this for decades, and we've been work with brands like Disney and Nickelodeon, and as well as startups. And I showed you some of the results at the beginning, but this would be a good way to go. So with that, I'm going to wrap that up. I'll put those links down in the description so you can just jump on those and grab them anytime you want. I would be on here. Really kind of checking this out and getting connected with us there, because I think that's the best way to do it. So otherwise, I'm excited on this training to get you onto Amazon FBA and selling as quick as possible. The rest of the stuff is waiting for you right here, how to move forward sort of after this. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you on our next live stream. Bye.
Bye.